What's going on, everybody? It's me, Severin7, and I'm finally back to making videos for Standard again. Today we're playing some Boros aggro, featuring some new cards from Avatar. And here we are. I'm calling it Boros Pew Pew because it's kind of based around just dealing a lot of damage, making a lot of little 1/1 tokens, and just kind of machine gunning our opponent down. And there's a lot of really cool new cards from the set that just make this feel really awesome. So just to quickly go over the list. We've got Nesting Bot and Harried Spearguard as our 1-drops because both of these create tokens when they die, which is important for things like War Leader's Call, which deals damage whenever things come back into play, but it also plays into one of the 3-drops we'll go over in a minute from the new set that I'm really liking. As far as 2-drops go, we've got a Demi of the Silk Shoots, just a sweet flash 3/2 that we can, give flying, or we can use to make our creatures indestructible on a turn. We've got a 2/2 split of Get Lost and Sheltered by Ghost. Not a lot of removal in the deck because we're really just trying to go all in and just, win as quickly as possible by creating a board our opponent can't deal with. It's possible that I should be running some more removal, but I'm trying to have fun with the set, and that doesn't usually mean I like to play a lot of removal because I just want to play creatures and smash my opponent's face in. So probably end up with more removal on the list eventually, but for right now I want to try it like this. We've got 3 Voice of Victories to help keep our opponent from countering or removing our stuff during our turn, and as another way to put more bodies and tokens onto the battlefield. And United Front, again, it makes tokens, but it also puts counters on all of our creatures. So even if we just cast this for 2 mana, it's a 2 mana way to put a counter on everything we have. So it can buff our team in an unexpected way when our opponent's not expecting it. Now, moving on to the 3-drops, I'm going to start with Suki, Courageous Rescuer, because this is actually what made me want to build this particular deck. 3 mana, 2/4. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Pretty sweet, decent anthem with a good body. And then whenever another permanent you control leaves the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1 ally. This ability only triggers once per turn. Now, that's really nice because if they block like our Nesting Bots, or even if we just attack with a Voice of Victory, the tokens that get sacrificed trigger it because it's just a permanent. It doesn't have to be non-token. So this just pumps up all the tokens that Voice of Victory makes. It makes these 1/1s into 2/1s, which makes them more threatening, and it just makes everything a little bit bigger. But it also just makes it so that we're getting lots and lots of extra tokens. We're replacing tokens whenever our Voice of Victory's tokens get sacrificed. We're getting one of them back untapped as a blocker, which is pretty nice. Same thing with like a Neem Call. These are just great ways to generate more tokens and kind of buff up our board. We've got 2 copies of Enduring Innocence in the list to help us draw whenever we play those small creatures, 3 copies of War Leader's Call to help us ping our opponent a whole bunch and buff all the little creatures that we are playing, and then a single copy of Faded Firepower, which I think is a really fun inclusion if you get into the late game with this. I chose to run a single copy of this over a 3rd Elspeth or a 3rd Enduring Courage, just because I really like the ability to surprise them out of nowhere and deal a bunch of bonus damage with War Leader's Call, because basically if you have 4 mana, you turn your War Leader's Call pings into 2 damage pings. If you have 5 mana, you turn them into lightning bolts, and then every creature you're attacking with is also basically getting buffed by however many counters we get to put on this, which makes them harder to block and makes them deal a lot more damage, obviously, to your opponent's face. Enduring Courage, 2 copies of that to also just, again, buff up all the little dudes we're making. 1 copy of Suki, Kyoshi Warrior, because I think this is a little bit of an underestimated 4-drop. Because a lot of times it's going to be a 4 to 5 power card, and then when it attacks, it's going to be a 6 power card, making another 1/1 that's tapped and attacking, which is sweet. And the tapped and attacking also gets around things like Authority at the councils and stuff like that. Then 2 copies of Elspeth as a way to double up on tokens, make tokens, buff our team and give it flying, or remove troublesome permanents. We've also, in the mana base, got 2 Abandoned Air Temple, because this land is just busted, in my opinion, for any kind of go-wide deck. Super good. 1 Doubt Coven Encampment as a way to put some tokens on the board if we just don't have a lot going on the board. Single Fire Nation Palace, because this can help us play Faded Firepower, or, anything like that, just to, doesn't hurt to have 1 in the mana base. And a single Restless Bivouac as a creature land to help get us through if our opponent wipes our board, and that's the deck. It's just the first deck that I've really actually tried and had some good success with and had fun with, so we're going to put it through a full 30 games and see where we land. And if you find value in this deck and you enjoy the gameplay and you think it's fun, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into the gameplay. All right, time for some Boros against Sephiroth. Seph1 Zeroth. There are no red manas in this hand. This is bad. There are no red manas in this hand either, but it's better. So we will keep it. And I suppose we're going to put War Leader's Call back because we currently can't cast that. So Storm Chaser's Talent. Let's get Nesting Bot down. Thundering Falls for the opponent. They choose to keep it on top. That is annoying. Oh wait, that's not the one that exiles. Okay, we're good. Never mind. I want to get rid of the talent, but getting rid of the token means that, you know, if they get rid of my my guy, I don't lose it. So let's play Suki. And now if they get rid of my guy, I still get a token anyway. Storm Chaser's Talent number 2. Let's get him with Suki here. We're at full zoom. Not that it matters. The only card that cares about that is Nesting Bot. But still, it's worth noting that we're at full zoom. Alright, I guess we would call it Yip Yip. Dalcoven and Cam, a nice combo with Suki here. And then next turn we can just Elspeth it up. Toph. Can discard a card to get back like into the Floodmaw or something. Gonna get back Firebending Lesson. Discarding Iroh. Interesting. It's an Iroh deck. Well, I guess playing Elspeth here is the best option.
I light the path to
Opponent blocks, which I think is an odd choice. They probably didn't count on us getting 2 tokens from Suki. Now they can get rid of Elspeth, but it's kind of too late now. Yep. The lesson has been learned. Ooh, this is gonna feel great. GG. That felt nice. It's time. Czar. All right, Czar. Let's see what you're working with. This looks like a reasonable hand of magic cards to me. We'll keep. I think this version of Suki is also quite good and people are underrating it. I mean, in this deck, it's usually a 4-mana, like 6/4. Definitely getting in with the Spear Guard here. See if he's playing Badger Mole or not. Flash in a Demi. Earthbender Ascension, okay. I guess he has a fight spell that would suck, but okay. That's not that bad. He can make the Wastewood Verge a 4/4, but no, he's gonna Earthbend another land. That's fine too. We still reset the Ascension counters, which is good. When it gets in for 2, sure. Play Suki. Get in for 4. Bossing Say. This is up to 3. What does it happen when it's 4? Put a +1/+1 counter and give it trample. Cool. Blossoming Tortoise. Interesting choice. Ooh, okay. He's playing like a weird, like, landfall-y ramp, but like also Louis Pompous Villager type of deal. I'm gonna hit the forest so that he has to tap a creature to get the second black if he wants to play like the villager or whatever. But I mean, he's literally just dead to United Front if we draw a land, or no, we just Dalcoven Encampment and win. So unless he has Louis Pompous Pillager, we should be winning. Unless he can do some kind of combo here. Badger Mole Cub is annoying. It does give him a lot of mana. He doesn't have double black right now, though, so we're good. And even if he plays... He would have to have double Ouroboros here. And he wouldn't have enough creatures to attack with for that to be lethal if he did it that way, so... Ouroboros number 1, yeah. Yeah. That's definitely a lot of damage, but it's definitely not lethal. Yep. Puts another counter on something. So we take 14. Down to 6. Opponent passes. Yep. We had lethal many ways, so got there before he could go too crazy, thankfully. GG. Chap! What's up, old chap? Got a little sliver avatar there. This is white manas with no red manas and no 2-drops. That's bad. This is interesting. We will try it, and we will put back the Faded Firepower, I think. This is a really fun inclusion in this deck, and I like it a lot. I'm hoping I'll get a chance to eventually show you guys how much fun that is. Another one of these. Badger Mole Cub is literally just everywhere right now. I definitely need to build some control shells. Wow. Well, right this second, he doesn't have a way to make 3 different powers. So we'll see what he draws, what he plays. And if I can Sheltered by Ghost the Cub before he gets too much stuff on the board, then that might be enough to protect us. It's ironic that a 2-mana 2/2 can be as destructive as Badger Mole Cub can be, considering the fact that most people are like, oh, it dies to shock. But it just never seems like you have anything to get rid of it when it's relevant. When it's paying green-white. Or... and 2... wait, I think they screwed up. They added the mana and then moved to combat and lost the mana. Oh, well, that's really unfortunate for them. Because I am definitely not going to allow them to continue to have Badger Mole Cub. They may have protection, though, so I guess we gotta be careful. Considerate of that, I suppose. You can put a counter on it if you want, on something if he wants, but... still gone. Play Spirit Guard. That definitely slows him down a significant amount. Now, hopefully we draw something that we can cast next turn. That would be great. Having to just take next turn off would be kind of rough. Bright Glass Gear Hulk. I think that's what they were trying to do last turn. Seam Rip and Lana Whirls. All right, that's gonna be a problem. And we just drew a land, which is also not great. Yeah, we're gonna lose this one because they're gonna Seam Rip our Voice of Victory, get back their Badger Mole, Collector's Cage. It is a problem. They're going for the Collector's Cage first. Crater Hoof. Is that just lethal? I guess it is. Is it? That would be pretty funny if I survived this. Nope, just barely. Oh well. Fun Crater Hoof Collector's Cage stuff. GG. Abracadizzle. Abracadizzle. Looks fine to me. Nesting bot, nesting bot. Nesting, nesting, nesting bot. Do 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 do. Opponent takes 2. Plays an authority of the consoles. You got it, opponent. I will play a nesting bot. I will play a spear guard. And I will attack them for 1. Zora Spider Fancier. Okay, so it's life gain. Opponent blocks, blocks, boom, boom, boom. We get a 1/1, draw a card. Elspeth is good. This is going to be a tough match just because our deck plays so poorly into theirs. Because we're all about making lots of little bodies. Well, that's not bad because we get to keep it, and now we can put some map tokens on things. Ooh. A Neem Pakal. And see, the problem is if they don't get stuff going here, like this turn, if they don't have an answer for a Nipa call, then all of a sudden Enduring Courage starts turning those little gnomes into huge threats. Of course, they had a Bitter Triumph. Why would they not? Go ahead and attack with Nesting Bot since he can't block it effectively. Enduring Innocence, sure. Ooh, Sheltered by Ghost is very good. So Sheltered on Authority. And then we'll activate Bivouac. In. Counter here so he can't block it and kill it. Sure. And then next turn, if he doesn't have a way to remove Courage, we can play Elspeth and start going to town with tokens. He does get to draw a card here, and it's a land. Nice. Ooh, Suki Suki! And they scoop it up. GG. This deck feels great. I like it. I'm ready. Daytona Green. If they're not playing green, I will be offended. We'll keep. We've got 3 red for firepower, so. Snarling Gorehound. Another life gain deck, it looks like. Or maybe Sephiroth, which is sort of also a life gain deck. Voice of Victory, sure. All right. Now the question is, do I Sheltered by Ghost or do I Enduring Innocence here? I feel like this is the right play. Because he can't, like, block and kill my voice, right? So. I haven't gotten my Cabbage Companion yet, so. Fun fact, if you don't know this, if you break this Cabbage stand, you'll get a little Cabbage Companion in your box. Opponent's gonna get in, get their Surveil on, keeping it on top. Sure, I'm not gonna block. No reason to do so. Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier. Cool, so we'll get rid of him. I'm glad that I decided to do that instead of playing Sheltered by Ghost. So we'll play another Voice of Victory. Sheltered by Ghost, this Voice of Victory. Hit the Sephiroth. Get in for 4, gain 4. Or get in for 6, rather. And then next turn, the fun part, and this is where we get to finally show off Fated Firepower, is if he just kind of goes all out. We get so many little tokens, and then Fated Firepower for 2, so they're all going to be 3/3s. So he's going to want to get in with Voice of Victory here, at least, to trigger the Starship. This is cool. I do like that he's playing this, because I want to make this deck, too. He's gonna Surveil and Mill, Surveil and Mill, and we'll block one of the 1/1s. But this is where I think we just win. Because he can crew this, but I mean, it's kind of too late. We have triple red, right? Okay. All right. This is why I have 1 copy of Fated Firepower in here, because it's just so fun. We would cast it before combat if we had like a War Leader's Call or something. When it's gonna crew, sure. When it's like, what? What'd that do? It just makes everything hit for 2 extra damage. It's just an, you know, basically an anthem, permanent anthem. Boom, 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 boom. Now imagine if there was a War Leader's Call on top of that on the field. So all the War Leader's Call triggers would be hitting for 3 each too. All right, and we're back for the post-game wrap. So 30 games, 60%, 18 and 12. So not like incredible, but still pretty decent for 30 games. 60% is a very good win rate. But I will say that it's possible that I just need, you know, I think I'm running 23 lands instead of 24, and maybe I need to be running 24 lands. But I lost 5 games out of all 30 games, 5 games because I never saw a third land. So it's possible I would have lost one or two of those games regardless, but there were a couple of those games where if I had just had a third land, like I had an insane curve. So the deck probably should have performed a little better than this. I just, you know, I lost a disproportionate amount of games to not finding a third land. in time for my opponents not to just run me over. But even with that, even with 5 games where we did not draw lands, we still had a 60% win rate. So I think that that speaks volumes about the deck. We did good against all the green decks, you know, 3-1 against green. We did good against all the life gain decks, good against mono red. And those are the 3 decks that are the most prevalent in the meta right now. So the fact that we did well against those, we didn't do as well against the mono white version of life gain, just because they most of the time main board Authority of the Consuls, and that is difficult for us to deal with. And then we obviously struggled against mono black just because they're literally full of removal, and they got some pretty sweet tools from the new set. So other than that, we did really decent against everything else. And the deck felt really fun. Suki is really, really strong. I think this card has a lot of potential in standard right now, and I you know, maybe I'm not utilizing it the best way, but I definitely think that for a 3-drop, it's a very strong ability. It makes it so that your stuff doesn't, you know, if your opponents are moving your stuff during your turn, or your own stuff is sacrificing itself, you're getting extra tokens, you're buffing your team, and that's just really good for a 3-drop. It's a very strong 3-drop in my opinion. And I'm really, really liking United Front. I think this is a good card even outside of a deck like this. It's just a very good spell, you know, like it just exponentially gets better the more mana you put into it, which is great. I really liked the 1 copy of Fated Firepower. That was really sweet in my opinion. And I'm actually really enjoying this set. I just want to take a quick moment for those of you who are actually sticking around to listen to this, who are my real viewers, who, you know, come and watch all my videos. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being patient with me. I got into a really bad depression with Omen Paths, and I just felt like I could not build any fun decks that included Omen Paths cards. And it just made me not want to make content, you know, because like, what's the point in just making decks with no new cards, you know? And it just felt bad. Like, it felt not great, and I just was not having a good time last month. And I just wasn't making a lot of videos, or any videos at all the last 2 weeks before the set released. So I'm trying to get back into it. You know, it took me a lot of just mental effort to even get into this set, even though I love Avatar and I'm really excited about it. I really kind of had to work myself back up into wanting to make content again. So thank you for your patience. I know this might not be the most exciting deck, but you know, I really just haven't had a lot of time to work on too many brews. So I will be getting back into that groove and making some more exciting brews coming up. So thank you again for supporting me, for being here, and for, you know, being patient with me during my Omen Paths crisis. So with that, if you're still here and you enjoyed this and you're not subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. All those things help me out immensely. We're just hovering around 1,300 subscribers, and I'd like to get to my goal of 2,000 eventually. So every one of those helps, and I will catch you guys in the next one.